So you've done the work, you've gone to school, you've worked so many years in the corporate arena, you've done all the things, you are the expert in your industry, you have the receipts. So why are you still charging like it's 2014? Well, today in this episode, I want to talk to you about why you and many women like you are still undercharging severely, okay, for their prices, for their services, for their offers, when in fact they have years of experience. And so we got to get into why that is and what you can do about it, and so that you can start raising your rates, okay? But before we do, whether you're new to me or true to me, welcome or welcome back. I appreciate you being here. My name is Katrina Marie, also known as the Boss Chick Biz Coach and your fearless leader. I am a holistic business coach and an RN health and wellness educator, and I help successful corporate career women and high achieving women entrepreneurs build aligned and profitable online brands and businesses without sacrificing their soul and sanity or compromising their health and happiness. And so today, I really want to get into this conversation as to what's really holding you back from raising your prices, why you're severely undercharging, and where the connection is, and to kind of help you connect the dots, and really, again, what action you can take and what mindsets you can shift in order to move forward and make progress in doing a new thing as soon as now. As soon as you're done with hearing the sound of my voice in this video, I really want you to put all of this into perspective and start to consider what you can do differently to raise your rates and stop charging like it's back in the day, okay? And even then, I mean, like, people were charging some of the people who know their worth and know what their work is worth and value their time and their energy and all of that, the things like that we're going to be talking about in today's video, were charging what they were supposed to. But that's more than likely because they were aware, again, of what their value is and what they bring to the table. And so let's talk about that today, okay? Because there's let me say it this way. The real reason experienced women still lowball themselves is primarily because there are, and I talk a lot about trauma responses here, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that now, because this is really speaking volumes to visibility wounds, and visibility wounds equate to pricing wounds, okay? Meaning you're bringing your trauma and your money story and the relationship you have with money, that unhealed trauma inside that you don't even recognize still exists because you never addressed it. You're taking those visibility wounds, and that is why a big part of the reason why you are charging lower. Hang in there with me, okay? I'm going to give you some examples to bring home my point and to put this into perspective for you, so you can see it through my lens for a moment, and then take this with you and digest it and do something about it. So here's the thing. So I had a client who actually she created, working with me, a really, really great offer. Outstanding, excellent, exceptional offer based on her experience. Okay, this is somebody who had years of experience in corporate America. Like many of us, we have the whole alphabet soup of credentials behind our names, right? We've gone to schools and pursued the degrees and all of the things. And she is an expert at what she does, and she's very confident and comfortable in the corporate arena. But this was the first time that she launched a product like this or a service like this in her own business as she made the transition. And she had an amazing offer, but she was whispering about it online when it was time to launch. Like, she kind of was selling it, but not really. You know what I'm saying? She didn't really confidently charge what the value of her service was. Her $97 price, or I'm going to call it a $97 price tag, did not match the $997 value that actually what her offer was worth. Okay, if that makes sense. It was a mismatch, right? So, and she was afraid to really promote her offer because she was afraid of being judged for doing too much. Okay. Judged for doing the most. And what I mean by that is she was more concerned about what people were going to think about her than she was about, and really not even realizing that she was doing them a disservice by doing that, because people then did not see her as the expert she was because she was lowballing her services. Do you know what I'm saying? And we're going to get into that too when we talk about premium prices. But before we do, I do want to say this really quickly. There's a connection between visibility wounds, fear of rejection, and pricing. And what that is precisely is that you're still apologizing for your brilliance, and you don't even realize you're doing that when you are lowballing your offers. Okay, when you're discounting your rates. And listen, no judgment here, because I'm guilty of it too. In fact, when I started this business, this very online coaching and consulting firm that I run now, and in the very, very beginning years, I did not understand business models. I didn't really understand, pricing. I personally would not have been afraid to charge or had the confidence to charge. But I guess to some degree, I was dealing with my own money traumas, right? And my own money story and relationship I had with money. And even though I knew I should have been charging more, I didn't necessarily know not what I was worth. Okay. And I definitely knew what I had to bring to the table, but there was a little bit of that imposter syndrome that I allowed to creep in, even though I truly don't 100% believe in imposter syndrome today. Okay, I won't go too deep into that. I have a whole, lots of episodes on talking about imposter syndrome, and I wrote a whole ebook about it if you're interested. Okay, and you can find that in the description box. But what I'm saying here is that, I sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, right? And until you have somebody pinpointed and point that out for you and make you face those fears and deal with the underlying issues of where that stems from, you are going to keep pricing in the way you do, and people are not going to see the value in what you're bringing to the table because you don't even see it. That's really what I'm saying. So stop apologizing for your brilliance, okay? Blind the world with your brilliance by showing up and charging confidently exactly what your offers are worth. Okay, you don't want people to see you as the cheapest option. You want people are looking, especially the kind of clients that we typically want to work with, right? Our ideal dream clients. They're not looking for a part of the solution. They're not looking for a bunch of information to be on information overload. They can Google all the things and pieces, do all the, find all the scattered parts and pieces to piece all that together. And all that's going to do is just cause them more confusion. What people are paying you for is the clarity that you have that they don't. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, they can gather all the puzzle pieces, but they might not know how to put all that together and make a complete picture. Right? What's the full puzzle? They don't know what that is, and that's why they hire you. So, you may think that you may be overly concerned, like my client was, who was like, well, I'm just too concerned that they're going to be like, wondering why I'm charging so much and who do I think I am and all of that jazz. What do you mean? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Right? What do you care that they don't know you from a can of paint, right? So you've got to just condition that these minds from the people who are willing to buy, to let them know you are the ish. You are that it girl, right? You are all of that. And whatever you were in corporate America, why is it any different when you come over here to the world, to the business world? It isn't. And you've just got to remember who the F you are, okay? Who the F you are, like for real. So show up, show off, and show out confidently, because your ability to do what you did in corporate America, as to which, by the way, if you didn't do a great job, you would have not been hired at the corporations who hired you to do the role or fulfill the role and the obligations that you once did, right? Or may still be doing if you're still in corporate America. And they wouldn't have paid you for it. They wouldn't have hired you. They wouldn't have seen you as an asset. So you've got to see yourself as the number one asset in your own business. Now, you might be someone, going back to, apologizing for your brilliance and lowballing your offers. You might be someone who, say, for example, you created a 10 module course, right? with live support, with templates, with if not a full, maybe a partial curriculum, but you're charging less than $200 because you're feeling like people are not going to pay the price. They're not going to pay any more than that. But you're making that judgment based on your own, what you're projecting of yourself, again, because it goes back to your own money story and the relationship you have with money and your own fears. All of that is rooted in fear most of the time, right? Fear of judgment, fear of what people are going to think about you, fear of what, if people are going to be resourceful enough to pay. My client told me that she felt like, well, it's not fair. And, I know I've been in a situation before in a bad spot where, the economy was not great. And so I wasn't doing as great as people thought from the outside looking in. It looked one way, but I knew the truth. No, deep down inside, you don't feel like you're worth it. That's what you truly believe. Okay? Because I'm sure when you go to work to collect that paycheck, whatever job you used to do or are still doing for that 9 to 5, you don't expect to get paid at the lowest rate, right? Now, maybe you are accepting less than what you should be, and maybe you're used to getting passed up for promotions and that sort of thing, and you don't fight for what you rightfully deserve. But that contributes to the problem, you see, because you're also so used to what you've been brainwashed to believe is just the way it is in corporate America. They've done such a number on us, conditioning us to believe what ain't so, okay, that you bring that kind of money situation, that money story, that money trauma over to your own business. And that is why you charge accordingly. Because if they are overlooking you for the promotions that you rightfully deserve, but you don't do anything about, you don't go negotiate new rates, you don't go, have a conversation with your boss or whomever's in charge, go talk to HR, go do what you got to do to make it possible or put yourself in a position to be seen as a valuable asset, in a valuable employee, right? Maybe the most valuable player on your team. If you don't position yourself as such, or you have, but you don't go speak up for yourself and advocate for yourself about it, then this is a part of the reason why you're also charging lowering your prices in business. So you need to have the confidence to charge, but that starts again, first, the mindset shift, working on the money story, the money trauma, right? Healing those issues. And then if you're in corporate, dealing with, going to whomever you need to, the appropriate parties, to fight for what's rightfully yours. And that is the raise, right? And you shouldn't even have to force the situation. You should just be able to present your case, so to speak, right? And say, hey, this is what I've been doing. And, I understand you're, busy doing your job over here, but I wanted to present to you why I feel strongly that I am a huge asset here in this department. And this is what I'm contributing, not only departmental wide, but organizational wide, right? And so overall, this is how I am a valuable employee and why I deserve this raise. Like, obviously you're going to present it more polished than that, but it doesn't really take much to do it, but it does take courage and it does take confidence. Okay. And it takes clarity as well. And you've got to be crystal clear and really sure of yourself to be able to put yourself in that kind of position, and know that if they tell you no the first time, give pushback. So it's the same kind of mindset you have to have when you're working in your own business and you're needing to charge more. You understand what I'm saying? So right now, the other truth is that you're stuck in the friend zone. Okay. I call it the friend zone because you're too concerned about what people are going to think, and you're treating them more like a friend or a colleague or somebody that you're like, well, a family member or something like that. And you feel like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna lower the prices, or I'm not gonna charge as much because, everybody's got their own situation. But sis, let me tell you, you cannot be concerned or overly concerned about everybody's situation, okay? Because that is not serving them, and it's also not serving you. Listen, at the end of the day, you're in business, right? You are exchanging a service for money, and that is how your money is going to not only survive, but thrive. And so you've got to just kind of like do away with that whole thought process on worrying about other people's pockets and pocketbooks and bank accounts and purses and what's going on there. Let people get resourceful, because people can get resourceful when they want things that doesn't give them a return on investment. So let them get resourceful for something that will. Okay. And you've got to show up firmly and believe in yourself and let people know the price is the price is the price. And I understand that you might not be ready right now or have it in your budget. And I can empathize with that, especially if you've been there too, as have I. But at the end of the day, you don't go to certain stores, especially high-end stores, and think you're going to get a bargain. You go in there and either you can afford the handbag or you can't. You can afford the perfume or you can't. You can afford the services for the pampering at the resort or you can't. You can go buy these new clothes or this house or the car or whatever it is, or you can't, right? But you're not going to talk them down. Like, there's not going to be a negotiation process for the high-end premium price thing that you're going for, right? Again, this ain't no swap meet or flea market. This ain't no Walmart or bargain bin. This, you know what I'm saying? So you've got to charge whatever your rate is. And if people cannot invest in you at that level right now, well, then I guess this is just not their time, or they're going to find a way if they really know that what you have is the solution to their problem or their urgent need or the desire. You know what I'm saying? Let them figure that out. You can't make their problem yours. Okay. So, think about, and you should be really kind of like targeting those individuals who actually can afford your services, or at least resourceful people, because they understand the higher level of investment and what you bring. If you position yourself in such a way to be known as the expert in your industry, they're going to know, they're going to keep you top of mind, and they're going to understand that you are not only a choice, you are the choice. Okay. So I'm going to stop there, because I think I dive deep enough in this part of the message for you to get what I'm saying and where I'm coming from. Now, speaking of which, if you are getting what I'm giving and you love these gems I'm dropping, go ahead and leave a comment right now so we can get this discussion popping. Okay. I would love to know what hits home with you, what's hitting on those heartstrings, what's pulling and tugging at you. What is the deepest part of this message, or the key takeaway? What's resonating with you most? Let's go ahead and continue the dialogue in the comments below beyond this video. Okay. Now, and also, by the way, if you are really appreciating and finding my content here helpful and valuable, then make sure you do subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single episode whenever I drop new content and or go live. Okay. I want to talk about, I was going to give you another example. I'm trying to think where I left off. So I think I was giving you an example about, that you created a course and then you were charging a lesser amount for it, right? And that's because you don't believe that you're really worth it, okay? And that's why you are stuck too. I was saying about the friend zone. I kind of had to bring myself back. So thank you for hanging in there with me as I rewind as to where I left off before I gave you that little spiel. I know right now you might be posting every day, posting advice daily, but here's the thing. You're never really making the offer. Okay. And I know this all too well from many clients that I've worked with who do this. They have the offer and they sort of kind of not really tell people about it. Okay. But then they call that a sale. They call that an offer. They say they're doing the thing, but they're really not. Okay. Listen, people love you. They love who you are. They love what you bring. They love your messaging, your style, your vibe. They get you. They feel you. They relate to you. They resonate with your message. Everything about you, right? They really rock with you. And here's the thing. They don't hire you. And you wonder, well, why is that? But do they like me? Do they want me? Do they know I'm the ish? Do they know I'm that it girl, right? Do they really? Yes and no. And the reason why it's confusing for them is because you either one are not asking for like you can't, okay, it's like this. So you can't present, you can't, show up in this way where people really vibe with you and they like you and they're waiting on the edge of their seats. Like, okay, she's going to offer me something. And then you don't. They're waiting. And if you don't offer them the thing that they need, they're going to find someone who will, especially if they have an urgent need or desire, strong desire, or a pain or a problem that they need solved Do you understand what I'm saying? They're looking for the solution. If you don't present it to them, they're going to find it from someone else who will. Even if it's not the best option, it's the closest thing to the thing they can find from the person who's going to offer them the thing to give them the solution they need. Do you know what I'm saying? Why not you? It's got to be you. So you are doing your audience, your target ideal client a disservice by doing that in your business as well, because you're not then getting the leads you need to turn those prospects into clients, to show them what you got and the value you bring, so that they can continue to come back and work with you on other investments or other offers that you might have that they can invest in. Okay. So that is really a problem. And if you are asking for the offer, if you are selling the thing, you're not doing it in a way that speaks to a level of confidence that they need to see. Something about your energy doesn't exude that, and people can sense it. Okay. Facts, 100% real. Okay, so hear me on that. Again, I'm delivering this with as much love as possible and empathy, but the truth is the truth is the truth. And I'm here to tell you the truth, because when you can when you hear the truth and you can accept it for what it is and admit to, some of what I'm saying, at least some of what I'm saying here, to be true, then you can deal with it, right? But if you keep telling yourself, oh, that's not me, I don't see myself in this, well, then, okay, you're never going to get to where you need to be, and you're going to continue to stay still, stuck, and stagnant, because you're not going to raise your prices, and you're not going to, bring in the kind of cash flow that your business deserves and that you deserve. And that means you're never going to have a profitable business, and you're going to be misaligned at all times. So we don't want that. Now, I told you earlier that we were going to talk about why premium clients want and expect, operative word, premium offers. Why is that? Well, here's an example. True talk. Okay, this really happened. And so recently, I'm offering a clarity call. It's a Freedom and Focus clarity call. It's 222. And really, so let me first tell you this part, and then I'm going to kind of back into the story, because I'm going to bottom line it so I can get to the point, but then I'm going to tell you kind of the back end, the background information. Okay, some context around it. So I have a 222 offer. It's a clarity call. Okay. And this woman DMs me, and we kind of going back and forth in the DMs. And she said to me, based on what you're presenting, sounds amazing, right? But honestly, I assumed it wasn't for me, because it only costs $222, and I'm looking for someone who can really help me build a legacy. Who knew, right? But this is what premium clients look for, and they expect. She was like, there's no way you're going to be able to help me with no legacy and transforming my life for no $222, right? But the reality is, I had to explain to her, and maybe I need to even position this a little bit differently, right? Having known that, because that was really great feedback, because other people might be thinking the same thing. But no, this is what it is this. A clarity call is just that. It is not a coaching call. I'm not giving free coaching. Okay. You've got to pay for those services. And I have a premium offer for that. I have group coaching. I have VIP days. I have other, I have a 5-figure offer. I'm meeting people where they are in the journey, right? And so I was explaining to her, no, hun, $222 is just for you to get on a call with me, so we can have the conversation about where you are feeling stuck, where you are, what successes you've had, where it is you are right now, where it is you want to ultimately be, kind of map out a plan in place. Let's talk through some of the struggles that you've been through and that sort of thing. Let's talk about the challenges, and let me offer you some insights, and then talk about the ways in which I can support you with my other offers. Okay. So you're getting on a call with me so we can talk about how you can actually work with me. That used to be my discovery calls. I used to call them business breakthrough discovery call sessions for the longest time. In fact, until recently, okay, this really happened. This is so I do a lot of collaborations, and so I was on a collaborative project with one person that is on YouTube as well. And so we did a live stream together, and this person who happened to reach out to me said she filled out the pre-screen application that you have to fill out in order to get on a call with me, because I like people to be pre-qualified. And I was offering a complimentary business breakthrough discovery call. Okay. And it's about an hour-long session. Same is true for the clarity calls. but it was free. Okay. It was complimentary. I'm not going to charge you because I'm going to have the conversation with you. And then you're going to decide which route you want to go. And I'm going to decide if we're a good fit. And it's, for us to decide if we're a good match for each other. And if I even have something in place and I feel that I can really help you. So long story short, this person goes through the entire process. And during that process, I make people promise that they're going to show up. And if they need to cancel, they need to cancel within a reasonable time, like 24 hours minimum. Okay. I value my time. And you have to agree that you're going to show up because you not only value my time, but yours as well. Okay. I don't play about my time, and I want to preserve my energy, protect my peace and my time. And so I have them go through this as a part of the process. And so what had happened was, this person went through the process, and then after like I send out, it's automatic emails that they get as reminders. You can see when you go back to the activity log that she opened every email, she confirmed, she saw every email, she responded, or she just read it. And so I took the time, as I normally do, to prepare, to look into this person's their website, if they had one, their social media accounts, their read through their application, like understand their story and where they are in their entrepreneurial journey, where their struggles are, where they want to be, all the things, because I'm prepping for the meeting. Okay. And this person ghosts me. You only get one time with me, hun. Okay. If you ghost me, and you didn't even have the common decency or courtesy to extend me, like let me know something was going on, you're going to have to reschedule or cancel or what have you, and you agreed to it, and I took the time to do this, and I get all dolled up and I'm prepared to be on camera to have this conversation with you and give you an hour of my time, that's where the buck stops with me. Okay. I banned this person from getting on another call with me. And I've done that a few times because this is not the first time it's happened. And now if you want to book with me, you've got to go through my team or to me directly by emailing us, and we will book you, but you will have to pay for the call first. And that's why my clarity calls are in place now, because I used to do these complimentary until I've had one too many people ghost me. And I'm not good with that. I'm not having it. That's not something that I appreciate. And so I can't make people show up if they're not going to show up. But what I can do is control things from my end. And that's why I now charge for my clarity calls, or I now call them clarity calls, whereas before they were complimentary discovery calls. So you understand? So you've got to make changes like that for yourself as well. Getting back to the client who reached out to me, or she's not yet a client, but we are having conversations still. And so now she understands that this is the whole point of why she's booking with me. And that when she gets on a call with me, it's not going to be a $222 offer, right? Because I don't need to get on a call with anybody for $222. I hope you know that as well. If you're selling anything for less than $1,000 or anything high ticket, right? That can be sold through a sales page. You can send somebody a link through the DMs or the emails for that, right? This is not something you should waste your time with. Either the person's going to buy it what you're selling or they're not, right? Like if it's a digital asset, for example. But if you're spending your time to get on a call with somebody, you should be charging for that, and you should be selling at a higher rate. Does that make sense? So I wanted to kind of tie that in very nicely for you, right? And kind of with the bow on top, so that it's packaged nicely and you can better understand where I'm coming from. And I hope that really makes sense. And so, and I think that's for the most part. I was trying to think of what my next point was. I'm sure I had one, but if I think about it, I can circle back to it. But otherwise, I believe you get it, right? I believe you understand that raising your rates actually serves both you and your clients. And that's really the point that I'm driving home. Okay. So I have a quick tip for you, by the way. I want you to do this as a bonus. If you're still here with me almost 30 minutes in, I didn't intend for this video to be this long, but it is what it is. Okay. Because I want to say everything that's important for you to know. So I want you to go audit your current offer suite and your pricing today. Like seriously, if you should have at least one or two offers, I want you to really reassess that and reevaluate the one offer, or, if you have more than one offers, and reevaluate where your price point lies, right? And based on what I shared with you today, think about that, ponder on that, and then really get crystal clear and laser focused on how you should be positioning yourself, why premium pricing matters to premium clients, and why you may be actually driving people away from you who are actually your ideal client avatar instead of attracting them to you. And it could be very much nothing about who you are as a person or as a coach, a consultant, a service provider, or any of that jazz. It can simply be that you are deterring them, right? Discouraging them from purchasing because they don't believe that you can get them the result, the outcome, or the transformation that you promise based on your pricing alone. Okay. I hope that was helpful. If it was, do me a favor. And now that you understand what a clarity call is, book your clarity call and let's get clear on what we need to do to raise your rates with integrity and ease. And if you identify, by the way, as a Black woman or know someone who does, and you can share this information out, please make sure that in order to shift your money mindset, and so much of what I talked about actually in today's video will be talked about throughout the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women. It was a summit that I was a featured speaker in, okay, that happened recently, over 20 speakers and so much value, okay? The replay covers it all. So I'm gonna leave the links to both resources in the pinned comments below. Make sure you tap in and stay tuned in, okay? Now, that's my time. I'm going to tune out while you tune in. Be sure to share this video out with at least 3 friends and watch the next video that YouTube recommends. As always, and until next time, I am wholeheartedly in this journey with you. Bye for now.